You guys turn it down a little bit?
Better?
Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Business with me, Suzette. Today's special guest is Erica London. Erica is the owner of Color Their World, an author and YouTuber. She's a lot of things, okay? And today we're going to be talking about writing her new book and just reading here. We're going to be talking about her new book that she released and getting into retail. So guys, while she's joining into the call, I want to update you guys on Network and Chill that is taking place next week, Saturday. Guys, there's only 11 days left. Network and Chill. This is going to be an amazing event, okay? I put a lot of effort and thought into this and it's going to be great. So I hope to see you guys there. Ticket sales are going to end in 6 days. Give me 1 second. Get her in here. Let's see. I think my phone froze. Shucks. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. All right, yeah. So as we wait for Erica to come in, guys, these lives are meant for you to get a lot of information from other business owners, to hear about their stories, hear about the things that went well, some of the challenges that they had. And here we have Erica. Hi, Erica.
Hello, how are you? Good night.
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Good. Thanks so much for joining me.
Not
So guys,
a problem.
this is Erica. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Go right ahead.
Hello, good night, everyone. My name is Erica London. I am the CEO and founder of Color Their World. I guess, as Sue said, there's a lot of things that I do.
A lot.
So,
Let's start with the first one. What was the first thing that you did?
what was the first thing that I did? The first thing I did was the YouTube channel. So I guess you could say a content creator. I created a platform an educational platform for children, reading children's books as read alouds. And under the umbrella of that, I've written 2 children's books. And what else? Man, I record songs. I recorded a song to go with the book, so I have a musical component to the channel.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
I can't
Okay,
even,
well, guys, first of all,
I can't even.
that's okay. I'll big you up. Okay, you can be humble. So Erica, first of all, guys, as you can probably tell, her voice is very, very soft. But when she sings, okay, and when you listen to her read these stories, I told you about like the first time I listened to your story, and I was playing it for my daughter, and I started to like get into it because like, man, like her voice is so soothing. And then I heard your song after. I'm like, okay, you know, you have a lot of talents. So I want to bring it back to the YouTube, okay?
Okay.
So that was the first business venture. Why did you get into YouTube? You said that it's an educational component. What was the purpose behind that?
Okay, so I actually worked in the medical field for over 20 years, in the dental field. And everybody's story seems to be like, you know, when COVID started. So my story, when COVID started, I had to essentially walk away from my career, my full-time position, to be at home with my children, to, you know, be there for them with their virtual learning and whatnot. In that, I realized that one of my daughters in particular had a lot of difficulty with reading. And I felt guilty as a parent because I'm like, oh my gosh, Erica, how could you have missed this? Like, this girl was essentially going to fall between the cracks. She was just going to be another number, you know, kind of sail her way through school, and me thinking that everything was fine. And I wanted to make it fun for her. So I started reading more. And then I had this weird idea of, you know, why don't I do a YouTube channel and try and get her to participate with it so that she could see that reading is fun, and you know, and it kind of started from there. So my intention in doing the YouTube channel was to shine a light to authors that would not normally be seen.
Okay.
To create a platform for indie authors that want to have their books showcased and you can't find anywhere.
Yeah.
The bookstore won't even pick it up. So that was essentially it. You know, I have like the popular books like the Robert Munch and I mean, there's so many others.
So many. I know.
The
Yeah.
Beverly
And love
Clarity,
bunches.
like the, you know, all the rest. But
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be the, how do I say this nicely? I didn't want it to be like the black,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the black platform.
Yeah.
However, I do try to feature a lot of black authors because I believe that we as authors
Mhm.
still have a hard time in showcasing our books, our talent. So
Being
yeah,
recognized. Yeah, I totally
yeah,
agree. You have to mix it up, right? It can't, and I can definitely appreciate that. But I also like the fact that you basically created a niche, right?
yeah.
Because on even for myself as a mom, sometimes you need YouTube, like no lie. You need YouTube to kind of keep them
I
quiet
know.
and about your hair. But at the same time, it drives me nuts when I see my daughter watching these full videos of people playing
Yes,
with Barbies and doing nonsense. I'm like, this is not teaching you anything, right? So
exactly.
I can definitely appreciate the fact that I didn't have the energy because doing YouTube is a lot. I did not have the energy to think of such a great idea like you, but it's definitely needed because there's so much garbage out there that's easy accessible on YouTube. And
Right.
yes, it helps pass by the time, but it's not good for them. It doesn't help them in any which way. So I like the fact that on your YouTube, it's very engaging, right? So it's not just another read along and it's boring. There was one you did, I don't remember the name of the book, but you did it in your Trini accents.
Oh yes,
Was
okay.
it
There's
Anthony something?
several.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
okay. So guys, listen, what I wanted to do, there are many people on YouTube that are currently reading children's books, okay? And I've actually, through doing this, I found that there are a lot of teachers through COVID that were using it for virtual learning,
Mhm.
as well as in-person learning. So I wanted to capitalize on that as well, of which I've slowly but surely been able to do.
Good for you.
Um, but in terms of setting myself apart from other people, not
Mhm.
necessarily authors that read books, I do them in different accents, and I have music that goes, I find music that would accompany the story that I
Mhm.
feel that's suited for the story. And I have a team that, you know, I send the reading, the pictures, everything off to them, and they compile everything together. So it's not me like, you know, holding the book and the sun is shining, you know,
Different, yeah.
it's I'm doing the voiceover. So it's in that way your children are able to see the pictures
Mhm.
and kind of put the story together for themselves.
Yeah, and
It's
it
fun.
gets no, it does. It makes it really fun. I'm telling you, I'm there listening to the videos as well. Even with my daughter because it's so interesting. It's so different than the regular boring read along that just there's nothing to it. So I like the
Right.
music component. I love the different accents. It's very engaging. I think that's what sets you apart right there and then, right? So that's about YouTube, right? So you're still doing that. Now
Right.
let's move on to the other venture, the big one.
Yes, the book, the
The
blessed
book.
book.
The book. Okay, we'll talk about the first one, then we can get into the second one. So
Right.
tell me about the book, the inspiration behind it, and how you came about saying, okay, I actually want to write this book.
Okay, so just prior to COVID, my uncle had passed away, and I've always written, kind of like I just didn't have time to focus on it because of my career, and I found this to be the perfect opportunity to kind of work on it.
Mhm.
So when I was younger, I'd probably say about, I think I was 11 or 11. Um, Another uncle of mine had passed away, and it was a very difficult time for me because I felt as though my parents didn't really my parents didn't really take the time to explain what was happening, um, how I would have felt as a child. And cutting that story kind of short, I just feel, especially within our community, a West Indian community, I
Mhm.
find there's a lot of things that are not spoken of. There's a lot of things that are not dealt with. And you're essentially going along with the advice of others. It could
Mhm.
be somebody from school, it could be your teacher, it could be a guidance counselor. And moving forward, fast forwarding to what happened most recently, just prior to COVID with my uncle, I wanted to be able to change the narrative for my children.
I love
Um,
that.
and this is the reason why I did the book. I said, you know what, this is something that needs to be discussed. And what I
Mhm.
did was I wrote the book in the form of a poem to ensure that it would be engaging for children, because the attention span of children, as we know these days, are very short.
Very,
So,
yeah.
and aside from that, at the end of the book has questions and facts that the reader, counselor, or friend can bring up with the child, just to bring about the conversation to make it easier. So
Hmm.
that was the book. And I wrote the book, and I had full intention of just writing the book for my children, and that was it. And then my husband said, you know what, Erica, I think you need to try and see if you kind of get this book out there. I was like, what? You really think somebody's going to buy this? I was like, all right, okay. And that started the venture of me trying to find a publishing house to publish the book.
Hmm.
And I found an American publishing house. And along the way of me finishing the book, I found you, right?
Hmm. Me? Yeah.
Yes, you. So,
Uh-huh.
guys, so let me just tell you a little bit about Sue, okay?
Oh, here we go now. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
let me tell you about Sue. Okay, so um, I I was never one to be on Instagram all the time. I didn't have
Mhm.
time, to be honest. And I knew that in order for me to showcase my product, I would have to create a platform, not only with the YouTube channel, but for the book. So I started my Instagram page, and in searching, I think one of my family friends, when you had your event business,
Mhm. Oh,
they
okay.
they had found you. I found you.
Mhm.
How do I say this? They acquired your services, and that's how I
Okay.
kind of heard about you.
Okay.
And then I found you on Instagram. I was like, oh, okay, so she doesn't do event planning anymore. What does she do?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it just fell in line with the what I needed at the time, because I needed somebody to kind of put my branding together. I
Mhm.
knew what I wanted to do. At the time, I didn't even incorporate my children into the channel. It was just me focusing on the books. And
Mhm.
then I found Sue, and we came together and created magic.
Basically. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that, guys. Erica is one of my best represented clients, and the reason why it's not about me. I mean I can tell you what to do. It's a matter of you doing it. You know, from the beginning, I said to you, I'm like, I'm not your friend. You remember when I said that? I'm like, I'm telling you,
Yes.
I'm your friend. I'm here for business. I don't want to hear about your personal stories. And
Yep.
Erica, you're so successful, and that's why I keep saying to you, I'm so proud of you because you fell through on everything. Follow through. Sorry, you follow through everything. And when you push and you push and you push and you push, it's I want you to talk about the challenges because I know some of them, right? So we're gonna
Oh
get
my
there.
gosh.
But
Yeah.
when you get the challenges, right, a lot of people tend to fall off and like, oh, something happened and oh, woe is me and this didn't work out. And for you, God works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a support system to tell you don't give up, and you didn't. You did not. You picked up the slack. You're like, nope, these people are trying to mess around with me, and it's not going to happen. Not today. And here you are into. I'm not going to say it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay. All right. So let's backtrack a little bit. So tell me some of the challenges with writing the book. Right. So you have this idea. You experience, I should say, and you wanted to share it with the world. And you're right. It's definitely a huge issue in the Caribbean culture, in the Black culture, where we don't address death, right? It's something where it's just like, yeah, he or she's no longer here,
Mm-hmm.
cry, and then let's move on.
Yep.
And a lot of times, we deal with so much emotional trauma that we don't address, and then it manifests itself in other ways in our lives, right? And it's
Right.
because we're internalizing all these things. So I'm very proud of you of going ahead and still doing it, because I remember when this discussion we had, you said, it's kind of a morbid topic, right? And I
Right.
remember you said to me, is it going to sell? And these are questions that a lot of times as business owners we have, because we always self-doubt for some reason always precedes everything else. So we have the idea, we get excited, but then all the doubt comes in. Is this even going to sell? Is it even going to be a thing? Because it's not like every other book that's, happy-go-lucky. And that's what I said to you, Mike, is we need this. So it's
Yeah.
not a book, an entertainment book. It's a book of a need. And so now I want you to talk about some of the challenges that you had, starting with the publishing house and their antics, and talk about how you overcame that and now where you're at.
Okay. So, when if anybody here who is, if you're ever going to listen to this live, one of the things that you need to know when you are publishing a book, reading a contract is very important. And I thought I did to the best of my ability. And let's fast forward to this particular publishing house. So I do not know how to draw. They told me that they were going to find an illustrator for me. And when I provided the manuscript to them, I trusted that they would find someone that best suited what I wrote. Keeping in mind that I wanted to ensure that I did have some Black characters in the book. And so I went along, received my sketches. I wasn't happy with the initial sketches. So they said, okay, we will draw them again. And let's just say when I got the final results, I spent 2 days crying. I don't even remember if I called you crying. I was like, Sue, this is
you showed
bad.
You showed me the pictures, and I was trying to hold on for you.
Yeah. She's like, Erica, this is bad. No.
Yeah, the images were horrible. So essentially, this publishing house was not able to convey your representation as you wanted the characters to be presented in the book at all. It was horrible. Right. It was like back when Black characters didn't really exist, and they drew them back from the 1960s, made us look really horrible. Yeah. That's how they looked like. They looked horrible. So what happened then? So what did you decide to do? So you spent money. Okay, so guys, she paid for the publishing house a lot of money. They said that they're going to be inclusive and they're going to give you everything. Sounded like a great deal. They didn't deliver. What did you do next?
Okay, so they told me that because I didn't want to go ahead with the illustrations, I would not be receiving a refund for that portion of what I had paid. And then I felt like I was stuck, because it's like, okay, well, now I have to put it on myself to find an illustrator. At the time, I had received some advice from somebody that is a web designer, and she advised me, or she told me of an illustrator that one of her clients had used, and they were on Instagram. So I was like, okay, all right, because I'm still getting the hang of this Instagram thing. So did my research with the illustrator through Instagram. So happens this woman lives in Portugal. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, how is this going to even work? Like, if this person living in the US couldn't even convey, or illustrate what I wanted, how is she going to do it? And I went through an interview process with the illustrator, asked her various questions, one of which, are you familiar with drawing Black characters? Of which she was. She had actually studied it. And I guess you could say the rest is history, because she's illustrating the second book. But when she was finished with the results and I showed it to you, I was like, I like, it was a sigh of relief. I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted.
It was on point.
Yeah, for sure.
Day and night. It was day and night. I was like, this is the one. So you basically paid twice to have illustrations for your book.
I did.
Kind of talk me through, at any point, up until this point, did you feel like giving up because you spent so much money on the publishing house? They weren't able to deliver. Did you feel like, okay, instead of me spending more money, let me just call it quits? Or did you just say, nope, I'm going to find another way? Like, talk to me about that, because a lot of times I think that people default to wanting to giving up, but you didn't. Did that ever cross your mind? And if it did, what made you cross back?
It did. It did cross my mind. And one of the reasons why I didn't give up is because I didn't want my children to see me as a failure. And that is not, and then me being the person that I am, I'm extremely persistent. I'm like, no, I'm going to follow
this. And wouldn't let you either.
Yeah.
I would have secretly given you the money and be like, okay, when the sales come in, just reimburse me. We're not giving up.
No. And this is the reason why, when I was even writing the book, I didn't tell a lot of people that I was writing the book, because I'm like, you never know what's going to happen along the way. And you don't want, like, that tanty, Erica, I thought you said you was writing a book. What happened to that book? Jeez, man.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept it quiet until we were ready to do our marketing strategy in terms of putting the book forward. But there were, of course, I thought about it. I mean, please, let's be realistic and keep in mind, I was not working full time. I was still home with the children. And, being a dental assistant, it's easy, especially during COVID. There were a lot of people that were skeptical about even returning to the office. So I would have some doctors that would contact me, say, are you available for so-and-so day? And listen, whatever money I got, it was going towards the book. And I just remained disciplined with that. and you know, I was motivated,
Mm-hmm.
highly motivated to see it through.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that you did. So now we talked about some of the challenges. Guys, if you're joining us, I'm speaking to Erica London. She is the author of Color. Sorry, Erica, say it. I'm gonna mess it up.
I'm the founder of Color Their World, and
Mhm.
I'm a children's author.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say the book, Color the World. Sorry.
Yeah.
And we're talking about some of the challenges when she was doing her book, and some of the challenges that she faced and how she overcame them. So now that you found the illustrator and you said, okay, she was on point, we were happy, like it was amazing. What was your next steps after that?
Promoting
Promoting. Okay.
step, letting people know about the book. Along the side of doing the channel, I was still putting out 3 videos a week. 2 of them were readings, 1 was an activity. Sue helped me develop that schedule so I wouldn't feel overworked.
Mhm.
And what I would essentially do is try and do 2 readings in one day and then post on a Monday and Friday, and the activity would go up the Wednesday.
Mhm.
And I basically tried my hand at different things. Like, you know, I've also done affirmations with the children,
Mhm.
posted that as well. You kind of have to feel it out and see what people are interested in.
Mhm.
And I've all the while knowing that my main focus was going to be the book, because the same platform that I wanted to create for other authors, I wanted to create for myself.
Mhm.
You
I
know,
like that.
by me having the Color the World platform, I never had to ask anybody permission to like, hey, I have a book. Can you promote it for me? It's like,
Mhm.
well, I could do it on my own.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
it's just,
Trailblazer. That's what you're called, a trailblazer. You went and created your own path because you noticed that there wasn't one for you. I'm like, okay, well, let
right.
me create my own. Um, I want to kind of let's go back a little bit because I remember this was a big thing in the process. Let's talk about the delay with the publishing house. You remember that?
Let me see. Listen, that was, you know, it's like a bad date that you try to block out of your mind.
I know, I
Honestly,
know. We have to talk about this. So, guys, if you're just joining in, Erica was my client as well, and I helped her with marketing of the book. So we're just sharing some of the ups and downs of being an author. And guys, by the way, beautiful Erica, beautiful young-looking Erica here is a mother of 4, by the way. 3 little children and 1 big one. Okay, so
yes.
all you guys are sitting there making excuses and oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. She is a mother of 4, okay, and she is doing it. And she's doing multiple businesses right now. So all you guys have excuses. There's no excuses, okay, because she stays up very late. I can email her at 3 o'clock in the morning and she'll reply right away, right away. All right. So go ahead and tell us about the delay with the publishing house.
I'm trying to remember what really happened with that. What,
So they were supposed to have a book printed by a certain time, and then they were supposed to have the book printed or the cover. There was something they were supposed to do by the deadline, and then they told you a month later. It was gonna get delayed a month, and then you
they
freaked
didn't,
out.
oh, okay. They didn't complete the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't complete the cover. And obviously, because they're in the US, it would take time for it to be delivered here.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't forthcoming in terms of the amount of books that I was going to get for free.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then there was the price. I think it was the price. So what happens with this particular publishing house, they let you pick, you know, choose the price. So there's a range of how much children's books can cost.
Mm-hmm.
And the hiccup happened when it was trying to figure out, well, what platform is it going to be sold on? Oh, now I remember what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They told me that I was going to get, they were taking 7% of what I would make on the book. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you're getting your little change.
Mm-hmm.
Only to find out when they published the book, for the book to be featured on Amazon, they were taking 25% of the sale. If it was featured on their publishing house site, they were taking 15% of the sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, hold on. So if you're selling this book for $14.99, I'm like, what? I'm
Mm-hmm.
only making like what, $1.40 after
Yeah.
all of that? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is not happening. So of course we go back to the drawing board and like create your own website. If you
Mm-hmm.
create your own
Yeah.
website,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to, you could take 100% of the profit. All you have to worry about is the shipping to ship to the particular customer. And
Mm-hmm.
then you could just X off those
Cut
people,
out the middleman. Goodbye.
cut them out,
Cut
right?
them out 1 time. And you
Yes,
bought the book yourself. You bought it from them and you resold it yourself. Because they also tell
exactly.
you the price. They dictate the price to you as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They tell you
Yeah.
what you can sell your book for, but by putting it on your own platform, just like the
Hmm.
YouTube channel,
Hmm.
you do what you want. So
Yeah.
that's essentially what I did. And that also costs more money again
Hmm.
to create
Hmm.
the website platform. But now on my website, I have the book, I have the upcoming book, I have apparel.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and there's also a link to the YouTube
Packages.
content, so it ties everything in together. You're coming to one shop, and
Hmm.
you're able to be you can find out what I offer, especially by
Yeah.
coming to the website.
Yeah, so it makes a huge difference. So guys, you see all the trials and tribulations poor Erica had to face. And every time you overcame it with another path, another path. It wasn't the one you planned on.
Not at all.
Um, there was one point there was some sort of delay, and there was like a month that was going to be pushed back. And I remember I said to you, and I said, let's work on the marketing and building the relationships online, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember exactly what the delay was, but it was just another thing with this publishing house. And that's when we worked on the marketing, and we said, okay, let's focus on building relationships with people online. And then you started doing
Mhm.
your lives, and you were on Instagram like a lot, and your Instagram grew so much. And that's another thing too I want you to talk about is the marketing part of it, right? Because a lot of times people think that, oh, I have this great idea in my head, I'm
Yeah,
gonna just try and sell it, and then there's no relationship building. So
of
I want you to
course.
talk about the marketing plan and how you went about connecting, and then talk about the pre-sales, because that was another big thing too.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's so much.
I'm
Okay.
reminded, I don't forget.
I know. Listen, I have to go back in a journal to actually look through because it's so fun. I'm so busy now, and sometimes I forget how far I can't even believe that I
I told you
started
that.
this journey this December 2020.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
feels
it's
like it was
almost
so
a
long
year.
ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. It's
I'm
so
taking you way back, guys. So
so
Erica, Erica here is an overachiever. So when she does, and I told you that, I said, you need to celebrate these milestones because you're gonna keep going and forget about them. And I don't forget, okay?
I know, I really do. I really have to
Yeah.
stop and stuff. Like the book was done. I was like, oh yay, the book's done. Okay, on to the
Okay,
next thing.
next. Yeah, I know.
Right. I remember when I had that goal at the very beginning, I think I had about maybe 300 followers on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. And I'm like, I couldn't even see myself getting to 1,000. It seems
Mm-hmm.
so far.
The
And
mark.
sometimes people say, oh, the followers don't matter. You can have a successful business and it doesn't matter. But there's a certain aspect of it that I believe does matter. Because it shows, especially on a social media platform, how much engagement you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be able to have that engagement to spread the word. It's free advertising that you don't
It
have to
is.
pay for. And
Yeah.
I think as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, we all need to take advantage of that. So for example, let's say
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis, I have like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I go on, and in the search engine, I type in children's authors. And I go on their page, I see what they have, add one or two comments, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just, focus on that particular person because everybody has a story to tell. And you never know who you can collab with. And you might just collab with the right person, and the right person will hear it, and then like the rest is history.
Yeah.
Right. And that's pretty much what has been happening for me. I mean, I've done several collabs with authors within the US, Africa, Canada, and the amount of business relationships, the networking, as you've always
Mm-hmm.
stressed, the amount of
Mm-hmm.
business relationships I've been able to create just off
Mm-hmm.
of reaching out to people, it's amazing. It
Yeah.
really is.
It makes a huge difference. It's a classic saying, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And sometimes just having the right conversation with the right person on the right day can
Yeah.
take you, really far. You got one of your sales, I think somebody, where was it in the world? They bought like 6 books at
Curacao.
once. Towards, yeah,
Yeah, in
right?
Curacao.
Yeah.
So that particular woman, she had her own bookstore, and she wanted to do a contest, and she saw the book, she saw the channel, and she's like, I really like this idea. And when I did the pre-sale, she bought 6 books. She was my
Mm-hmm.
very first sale. She purchased 6 books. I'm like, could you
Right off the
imagine?
bat. See that? So, because I
Yeah.
remember everything, your pre-sales, what was your target? Well, how many books did you buy?
Was it 50? It,
15 was the
what?
first
Are you
one.
serious?
Yes.
Erica?
Okay, guys. Okay, again, Erica has moved past this. I remember everything. So you initially, remember you called me, you're like, okay, how many books should I buy? Because we didn't want to
Right.
buy too much and we didn't want to like, make sure we went to have enough on hand. And you
Right.
bought 15 first.
Oh,
That was the first number you
yes.
bought. 15, 1 5 is how much you buy. And you said, okay, let me try and sell off all 15. How much did you actually sell in your pre-sales in your
I think
first
it
week?
was 65.
65. You got it. I remember that too.
Really?
So yeah, it was 15 and then you bought another 50 because you were doing it in small increments, just like, you weren't sure. But
Yeah.
because of the sales and the interest, because you built those relationships online, you're
Mhm.
engaging people. Guys, engagement is so important.
It
Um,
is.
you can't just, no matter how great of a product or service you have, if you just come out and nobody knows you and they don't know what's about, they don't know your story, there's no connection, people aren't going to
Right.
buy from you. And they won't actually know how great of a product it is because they don't know you, especially when you're, I don't like saying small business, but when you're a smaller business, it's really important to have those relationships, especially when there's an emotional tie. Your story, the meaning behind all your businesses is personal, right? So
Mhm.
I said to him, like, share your story.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to look like another YouTuber on the come up who's just trying to make
Right.
money and try to be somebody big.
For sure.
So that's really important. It's to share your story. So you have started off with 15 copies. And then by the time you had that list and you called and you're like, how much should I order? And I think we did like 25 and then we did another 25,
Hmm.
65 guys. Her target was 15 and she sold 65 books. Like you have done so much in the last, well, you started from December, but really you started working on the book from early this year. You've done
Yeah.
so much. And now
The
you're
book
on
was
now.
May. The book was actually released. The book was finished in May, and
Hmm.
we did the promo throughout the summer because we said
Hmm.
because of the delay, we're gonna
Hmm.
focus on promoting the book.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's 65. Amazing. So now let's talk about the retail and then the second book. So,
Okay.
mhm.
So how did I find out about these stores? On speaking to other owners once again, and I found out that Black Owned Toronto had opened their store in Scarborough Town Center.
Mhm.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, man, I missed out on that opportunity." I said, "All right, well, she must be opening another store soon." I knew nothing about this other store, okay?
Mhm.
So me and my fast little self sent Karen an email, okay, just congratulating her on the store, it being a great achievement in itself. I mean, this girl is, I don't even think she's 30, and you already
It's
own
very young. Yeah.
you already own two stores. Like, what's that about?
Mhm.
What was I doing when I was 20? What was I doing when I
Trailblazer,
was 25?
visionary. Yeah.
I think I had my son when I was 25. Okay,
We know what you're doing. No,
okay,
me
that's what I was
too.
doing, guys.
Me too.
Okay,
No, just me here. Me too. We were busy elsewhere.
right? Okay, but we eventually made it on path.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, people, we were there. We reached. Okay, but
That's so funny.
but yeah, so I sent her a message, basically congratulating her on her accomplishment,
Hmm.
and I'm doing it in a nice way to ask her. I don't remember how I worded the email, but it was, moving forward, if you have any other stores, I'm here.
Hmm.
She didn't respond, which is
Hmm.
fine, because I was
Hmm.
like, Erica, you planted the seed, keep it moving, go, go,
Hmm.
go, right?
Hmm.
So then I heard about the another store. I didn't know where it was going to be located, and on her website, I found a link to apply. I applied. Sue, let me tell you something. I completely forgot that I even applied.
Can you move on too quickly to the next thing?
Yes, this is what Sue's talking about celebrating the
Hmm.
accomplishments and stuff. I was like, yeah, okay. I felt like I honestly felt like I had to catch up for lost time. I felt as though I felt fulfilled in my career, but for some reason I felt like I wasted so much time. And I think that's the
Hmm.
reason why I had it in me to just keep like, okay, next,
Keep
next,
going.
next,
Hmm.
So I did that one. And the same thing with Canada Black Marketplace in the Pickering Town Center.
Hmm.
I filled out the application, and that application that I filled out for the Pickering Town Center, it was close to the deadline of them taking applications. And I just, you know, submitted, prayed about it, kept moving. And then one day I received an email saying that I was accepted to get into the Pickering store. And about maybe 4 days later, I received an email from Karen. And I honestly thought it was the same store sending me an email. I didn't realize that it was two stores at the time. And once again, it's like, wow, I can't even describe the feeling, honestly.
So happy for you.
I can't describe the feeling walking into a store and seeing my product on the shelf.
I walked in the store and saw your product, and I was like, "Oh, my little baby!"
I know. Listen, you know the video that you did on for the Canada Black Marketplace. That video is making it around. Okay, I noticed 3 people send me a DM, say, "Erica, is this you?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And I see Sue knows business in the bottom right. I was like, yo, Sue's video is making it, boy.
No, when I walked in specifically looking for your book, like specific. I mean, I already bought the book already, but you know, Christmas is coming around. But I walked in there, I was like, oh, here it is. I felt like that was my little baby too.
I know. You know what? And I'm glad you feel that way because you were a part of the journey. And it was a great team effort, and yeah, it was.
I'm so proud of you, honestly. Stores, guys. 2 stores in 1 week. 2 big stores. Eaton Center. That's huge, right? Yeah. So Christmas time, I know in my heart it's gonna sell off. You're gonna do well. So now we went on to the stores. Let's talk about the second book. So guys, she just released her first book a few months ago. And when did you actually release it? Was it September? Well, no, July? August? Was it August?
Yes, yeah, I think it was July. August. It was July into August.
Okay, and now the second book is out now, or coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the second book is going to be ready for the holiday season, and that book is called Stuck in the Middle. And that book is essentially speaking about a middle child, also written in the form of a poem with questions and facts. At the end of the book. I want all of my books to follow the same theme, to essentially speak about relatable topics, topics that I deem as being relevant in this day and age that people might not necessarily want to talk about. And being a middle child is one of them. I think that middle children are forgotten. I'm not a middle child myself, but you know, I do have a daughter that's in the middle of her siblings, as well as I know the experience that my sister went through being a middle child. So I wanted to write a book for all those children.
Good. And when is that book going to come out?
That book is scheduled to come out in December.
December, okay.
Yeah, for the holiday season.
You know what I really like about your books is that they're not typical. There's so many, you know, Robert Munsch, yes, he's popular and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's and it's classic. I'm not knocking Robert Munsch at all, but I find that with your books, they're so unique, and it's not unique in a weird way that it's too unique, no one's ever going to read it. They're actual books that are needed because the middle children, we all know them. I have my sister, and she's weird as hell, and you know, but there's a thing to it. Apparently, there's a thing to it to being a middle child, and a lot of times people don't understand that, and you know. Some people, like myself, bullies, will say, you know, she's weird or they're weird. Yeah. So I like the fact that you're addressing common issues that aren't actually being addressed. And, you know, I think that that's going to be one of the biggest parts of your success is that you're creating your own opportunities. You're being a trailblazer. And I think that's one thing. That's why I'm always rooting for you no matter what. I'm always going to be rooting for you because it takes a lot to not want to follow the crowd and do, you know, let's do a happy book with a unicorn that ends happily after. Let's talk about some real stuff. Let's address some real things. And you're taking a chance. And I'm glad you did because you are doing very, very well. 2 stores in 1 week.
And I'm going to be in Indigo soon. I even forgot to tell you that.
Tell me that. Yay! That's amazing. Indigo.
Yeah. That's one of their locations. I'll tell you about that later. I'm not going to let you guys know which location until all the paperwork and everything is finished, but yes.
Okay. I can't wait for see, and that's, you know what I've always said about you? You always keep moving. You're never like some people, you know, when they reach and they, you know, say you sold your 65, you've been like, okay, great, I'm done, that's it. You keep going. You're like, okay, what's next? What's next? How else can what's another outlet, you know? And guys, you have to be that hungry. You have to be for your business. You can't just half-ass it and try one time and then the door closes and no, woe is me. You're going to face a lot of rejection. You're going to face a lot of failures. You paid for illustration twice. You know, there is so many things, but you didn't give up. And most people will be like, no, I don't want to spend money again. But you invested in yourself and it paid off. You're in 2 retail store, about to be an Indigo. Hello, hi. That's huge, you know. Yeah. And I know that there's more coming. And as long as you keep going, you keep pressing, I just want you to celebrate a bit more. Okay?
I know. I will try. I will honestly try to celebrate more. Like even with the because I did the song. So I wrote a song to go with the Missing You book. And the song is on all musical platforms. And Lander, which is the company that I did the song, like the platform that I used to get the song out there, they've been giving me a hard time in terms of the cover work and the covers and the artwork. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it's quite time consuming. And thankfully it's out. And then the nursery rhyme album that I have is out as well. I'm just in the process of promoting that, and it will eventually be available on Spotify as well. And there will also be a link in my bio on the Instagram page, so you can get access to all of these things. But because I also want to follow through with the musical component of the channel. So
yeah. And her voice, guys, go on YouTube and find her. Color Their World. Her voice is so beautiful. Honestly, I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
If it was anything else, I would have just been like, yeah, she sings. You know me. You know I can't.
I know. You're like me. You're like me. Yeah.
Very cut and dry and honest. But yeah, I'm really excited for your success. I'm very proud of you thus far and can't wait to continue to see your growth. So in closing, what would you say to business owners out there, just in general, whether they're authors or not, in general, as a business owner, as a mother of 4, as someone who's had many failures in terms of, you know, the process and the journey, what is some feedback that you would give to business owners right now?
I think it's just a matter of being persistent, knowing what you want. And one of the things that I remember that we did together was creating a business plan. I think creating a business plan allows you to see where you want to end up, where you're starting from. You're mapping everything out, and it prevents you from moving aimlessly. And I believe once you have that in place, it gives you purpose. And that is how I'm able to, you know, feel as though I'm fulfilling my purpose, because I knew what I wanted to do from the very beginning, instead of guessing as to what my next step is going to be. So I think the first piece of advice is business plan, whether you want to, you know, write it out, or just what are you expecting of yourself? What are you expecting of this journey? What do you want your end result to be? And I think once you have that, you would have your challenges along the way, but you know what you're aiming towards.
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing that you mentioned with the business plan, one of the goals, you have brought it up, I don't think we finished talking about it, with the followers, right? So you had 300 to begin with. Do you remember what your goal was in 3 months?
700.
I think it was 700 to grow your followers from 300 to 700 in 3 months. What did you end up doing? So you don't remember. I remember.
You know what? I don't even remember how many, but I was 7. Was it 9? Did I get to 9?
You got to 1,000. You got like right under like 998 or something like that. By like the actual 1.5 months.
Right. You're right.
And consistency. Like
it is, being consistent. And now I think I'm just about hitting 1,400.
Yeah. And you know, one thing, like you mentioned, is having that plan, right? Not posting aimlessly. So same thing, I like to use the GPS, or get into your car, or leaving your house. You don't just leave your house and just say, okay, let me walk down the street. Let me just drive down the street. Not with these gas prices. You have to have a goal and a destination in mind, right? So with your business, you need to know, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. And then it helps, because then when those things that come along, you know, those mishaps and call them.
Yeah.
I don't want to say failure. I shouldn't have said failure, but mishaps that come along. You know that okay, let me regroup, and that's part of your plan. If
Right.
this doesn't work out, what am I going to do next? Right.
Hmm.
So, thank you so much, Erica. I'm super proud of you. I'm going to keep saying it until you're annoyed of me. That's okay. Okay, you know, I have no shame. So I'm
Oh,
so
that's all
proud of you.
right.
Tell everyone where they can find you online. Sorry. Tell everybody where they can find you online.
Right there. So online, my website is www.colortheirworld.ca.
Mhm.
And it's pretty easy to find me because I ensure that the name is the same throughout.
Mhm.
So Instagram,
Good.
same thing, Color Their World, and that's COLOUR for any
Canadian based.
American people that might see this.
Yes.
And yeah,
Mhm.
so that's website, Instagram, and oh, if you want to check out the musical content, it's also available in the link in my bio. If
Amazing.
you are ever on Deezer, Spotify, Apple Music, you could just put in Erica-Simone. And
Okay.
that's one of the mishaps. Like for some reason they are not accepting my brand. They're not accepting my brand.
Really?
Yeah, they're not accepting Color the World. So I have to put out my music with my name.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, I'm not
okay.
as popular as Brandy.
I'm
So
right. We're getting there. All right, just now. Brandy's old news. Okay, you're new news. So just now. All right, and plus, guys, if you don't want to go online and you want to grab one of the books, you can go right into the store at Eaton Center and at the Pickering Town Center in the Canada.
Canada Black
Canada.
Marketplace in the Pickering
Mhm,
Town Center and
mhm.
Black Owned Toronto in the Eaton Center.
There we go. I would have messed that up too. Me and names just never.
That's okay. I know the names are kind of similar. So yeah,
Yeah.
look out. We have a lot of holiday packages coming out, celebrating
Yeah.
the holiday season. So it's going to be great.
Support, guys. And the book is amazing. I have my book. It's in my daughter's room. I have it. Show everybody the cover. Show everybody the
Oh,
cover.
yes. This is the cover right
There you go.
here.
That's the cover. Yeah, I remember you
Yeah,
sent it to me. I was like, yes, it's so
I
beautiful.
know. They did a really good job. And I just want to show everyone, this is the logo.
Yeah,
You can
it's
see.
beautiful.
So
Yeah,
three of the four children. Um, and essentially it's speaking of what the channel, the brand is about. So,
yeah.
we're food, reading, and exploring.
I love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Thank you so much, Erica. Wish you
You're
all the
welcome.
best. I will always be here rooting you on.
Thank you
Guys,
so much.
remember, this is going to be posted on YouTube. I had some delays with the last ones, but they are posted now, and I'm going to post this one within 48 hours. So thank you so much. Go and follow her, Color Their World. Go out and buy her book. Support, 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 guys. We need to support each other. All right?
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thank you so much,
much.
Erica. Okay, have a good
Alrighty.
night. Okay,
Bye.
bye.